Y'all, like, what in the world, okay? What's up, you guys? It's Karla here, and I am back with another book review. I have not done a book review. I think the last one I reviewed was The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. I'm pretty sure that's the first book review I did. But anyway, I love to read. If you haven't checked out my other book reviews, go ahead and go over to the playlist that says book review and go ahead and check them out. You might find some books that you want to read. Anyway, I love to read. I love doing these book reviews, and the book that I recently just finished reading, it was a gift to me, by the way, but I wouldn't have mind purchasing it myself, but it was a gift from my boyfriend. But the book that I just finished reading is Broken Promise, oh my goodness, by Linwood Barclay. This book right here, I read one of his books before. It was called No Time for Goodbye and Too Close to Home. I think those were the two that I read. Yeah, those are the two that I read, and they go hand in hand with each other. It was a series. And this is the first book of the Promise Falls series. I think it's a trilogy, but I'm not sure. It is a trilogy. So, yeah, this is called Broken Promise, and I just finished reading it yesterday, and let me tell you, it took me on a roller coaster ride. One of the main things offhand that I can tell you about the book is that there are a lot of characters, like a lot, like a whole lot. When I first started reading, I was complaining about the characters the whole time. I'm like, why does he keep adding characters? Like, I'm already trying to keep up with the 50 that I have in my head, and now you adding 2 more. Like, I'm trying to keep up. After a while, like, once you distinguish the characters from each other, it becomes easier to, you know, to follow along, because at first I was extremely confused, because literally in every chapter he was introducing a new character, and I was like, oh my gosh. The chapters are from certain characters' perspectives, and I'll give you an example right now. And this chapter is going to be from his perspective, and Linwood Barclay does this a lot. Well, at least with the books that I've read by him, like if it's a person's name right there, it's going to be from their perspective, and usually the chapters are like that. So yeah, it says David, so you know chapter 2 is going to be from David's perspective. I'm not going to give any spoilers in this book review. It's just going to be, it's just going to be a little paraphrasing of what's going on. Because like I said, there is a lot going on, and towards the end, you can tell that it's going to be a book 2 just by all the things that are happening in this book 1. Like a lot of things happen in this first book. So, the book is basically about this guy named David. He lost his wife and he has a son. So it's him and his son. And he got let go from his job. He was a reporter in the newspaper, for a newspaper, and the newspaper shut down. So he had to move back in to his hometown with his parents, Promise Falls. So when he moves back home with his parents, he is not too fond of it. It's him and his son and his parents living in the house. And so all of these things start to happen when his son discovers that his grandfather has a watch in the basement, and his name is Ethan. Ethan takes his grandfather's watch to school, and this little boy, he gets into a fight with this little boy because this little boy took the watch. And so David, the dad, he goes over to the little boy's house to try to get the watch back. And the little boy, I keep saying the little boy, but I really can't remember his name. I'm going to look in the book to see if I remember his name. But anyway, the little boy's mom's name is Sam. And so she doesn't get introduced until like the middle. I mean, she doesn't come back again until the middle and the end of the book. So you know she's going to be in book 2 because of how, see, I'm all over the place and I can't help it because it's so many characters. But anyway, David, Ethan's dad, he ends up having sex with Sam in the middle of the book, and then she comes back later at the end. But anyway, that's one chunk of the story. David has this cousin named Marla, and this is when all the shit hits the fan, when Marla gets brought into the story. She lost a baby. Marla delivered a baby and she lost a baby. Apparently it was a stillborn. So when she lost the baby, she kind of had some mental issues going on. She tried to kidnap another baby from the hospital because she was like going out of her mind. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Okay, so David's mom, who is Marla's aunt, she asked David to go over and check on Marla. And when he gets over there, Marla has a baby, and she's like, an angel brought me this baby. And David's like, what? She says that an angel brought her the baby, and David's like, okay, she's kidnapped a baby again because she's done it before in the past. She tried to take a baby from the hospital. And she was like, no, I'm telling you, someone brought me the baby. She was an angel. She was dressed in all white and da-da-da-da. So David immediately calls his parents, and he calls Marla's mom, Agatha. Now, that lady is crazy. Yeah, everybody's trying to figure out where this baby came from. And also, David saw that there was blood on Marla's doorknob or the door. He explained that it was blood on the door. And he was like, oh my God, she's done something horrible to get this baby. But of course, he didn't want to believe it because that's his cousin. So anyway, to make a long story short, like I wish I could explain so much, but I can't really tell that much without spoiling the story, and I really don't want to have any spoilers. So there was an address on the stroller. The baby's name was Matthew, and apparently the angel told Marla that the baby's name was Matthew. So the angel. So David takes Marla and the baby to the address that was on the stroller. He convinced her to go to the address to try to find out, you know, what's going on. And when David walked in the house of the address that was on Matthew's stroller, he sees a dead body on the kitchen floor. And apparently that's Mrs. Gaynor. That's Matthew's mother. Yeah, it's this dead body. She's naked from the boob down, and she's naked, and she has a gash on her stomach, and she's, you know, pale, and she's dead. There's blood everywhere. She's dead. And David walked in. He was the first to walk in on the house. Mr. Gaynor gets to the house. Mr. Gaynor sees Marla in the car with baby Matthew, who is his son. So he goes to the car. Marla gets out of the car with the baby. There's a big commotion, and David finally convinces Marla to give Matthew to Mr. Gaynor because the police and the sirens and everybody's coming. So he already knows that Marla's going to be a prime suspect because, again, the baby was left with her, and she's claiming that an angel took the baby, and she already has a history of trying to steal a baby out of a hospital when she had lost her baby because she was apparently out of her mind. So Marla gives Mr. Gaynor the baby back for the time being while police try to sort things out. And of course, she is a prime suspect. So David's mom convinces David to try to help Martha, like to try to figure out any information that he can so that she won't go to jail, because right now she's a prime suspect. And David agrees because he remembers a time when Marla helped him when they were kids, or younger rather. Let's keep in mind that David used to be a reporter for a newspaper. Like, his job was digging up information. So throughout the whole story, you have David, who is Marla's cousin, who is an ex-reporter, trying to get information about this baby, about the crime that was committed, about all of these things going on. And you have the police department, who's also trying to find out things about Marla and about who killed Mrs. Gaynor. So you got David and you got the cops all trying to figure out what's going on. Now, what I want you guys to know about this story is that you have to focus on the characters, and you have to stay aware of all the events that are going on. Otherwise, you're going to get very confused, and you're going to have to go back a couple of times, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you don't want to keep going back to read, I would advise you to read this book in a quiet place so that you can actually focus on what's going on. Now, I'm not going to say too much more because, again, I do not want to give any spoilers, because this is the kind of book that you want to read on your own. You don't want to watch a book review with spoilers because it'll take the fun out of reading the book. And so what I can tell you is that there's a baby involved. About 4 people get killed in this book in very harsh and careless ways, like in some of them very stupid ways. The number 23 has some significance. I don't know what the number 23 is. I have an idea now that I've read Broken Promise, but I don't want to say my idea because it'll give it away if you decide to read the book. Another character to keep in mind is the I think is she a mortician? Whatever. I think they're called morticians, I believe. The ones who do the no, I'm wrong. She's a medical examiner. She does the autopsy, and she was doing the autopsy on Mrs. Gaynor while the entire book is going on. Keep in mind, this book didn't take place in like months and years and all that stuff. It's like a couple of days where all these events happen. You have someone killing 23 dead squirrels and putting them on a fence. That was one event that happened in the story. And it was 23 squirrels. You have the Promise Falls amusement park that shut down, that went out of business, that the Ferris wheel just start going out of nowhere, and in the cart that's labeled number 23 is 3 mannequins in the cart, and on the mannequins it says you'll be sorry. Like, what? And another event that happened in the story, there's a college that's presented in the story, and supposedly it has a rapist in it. And I keep doing this because nothing is what it seems in this book. On this campus who didn't actually rape anybody. Like, the rapist who's posing as a rapist, he's harassing the women, but when he abducts the women, he says that it's all just for a show. It's like a gig, if you will. But the rapist gets shot by the campus security because of a stunt they tried to pull to catch the supposed rapist. So he gets shot, but they learn that what he's doing is a gig, that someone was paying him to do that because he was a theater student. Ain't that crazy? I got my degree in theater arts, and they gotta kill the theater kids. That's messed up. But the hoodie that the guy was wearing had the number 23 on it. The number 23 pops up at least 4 times in this story. I don't know the significance. I have an idea. I'm pretty sure I have an idea, but I really don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil the story, and I want you guys to try to figure out your own. So you have the police trying to accuse Marla of murder, and then comes to find out the nanny was the nanny of Mr. and Mrs. Gaynor, who used to help take care of Matthew. She was the one who brought the baby to Marla because she found out some information that she wasn't supposed to find out. So she dropped the baby off with Marla, and she took off because she was afraid. Another thing that I want you guys to note is there is a messy doctor in this story, but I knew that he was messy from the beginning. Like, when his character was first introduced, I was like, he's gonna be a problem. I bet he's going to be a problem or a potential bad guy in this story. And I was right. Chapters are not really long. Towards the beginning, I think those are the longest chapters, towards the beginning and kind of in the middle. Those are the longest chapters. And when I say long, I mean like 6 to 7 pages, if that. Like, they're not long at all. But towards the end, when I tell you those chapters pick up, like towards the end when stuff starts happening like real fast, the chapters get super short, like less than 3 pages, because so much is going on. That's why I love Linwood Barclay so much. Like, he sets you up in the beginning and the middle. Like, he's setting you up for all these things. He's introducing all these people, and you got to keep up. But when it gets to the end, oh my goodness, like things start picking up like this. And let me say this, I already got the second book. This is Far From True. This is the second book in the Promise Falls novel. I don't even know what's the name of the third book, but I did get this one. In the middle of reading this one, Okay, so I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to check out my other videos and please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys have a great week and a great weekend, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.